Hey y'all, what's going on? This is Jesse Boast of the 19th hole, and we're here to talk about the new tournament coming up that will start December 10th. And we're talking about the Festive Cup Tournament, and this is the tournament that's going to take place on the City Park holes, formerly known the Christmas course. And basically what we're going to do, this is going to be for the rookie portion of the tournament, and we're going to talk about holes 1 through 9. We're going to talk about different ways to play the hole. Maybe, the way I like to personally play it. We'll also talk about clubs that I suggest that you may bring to each hole, balls that may be a possibility to use in each hole, and then also, we'll talk about the other routes that you can use on the hole as well, and then you can figure out which route works best for you, and hopefully get in some practice time before the tournament starts. So let's go ahead and get things started. We will also be talking about any kind of elevation adjustments that you need to make when factoring in the wind for your shots as well. So let's go ahead and get started, as I said already. We got hole number 1 here, par 3. So we start out with a par 3. I'm going to go ahead and just say this one right here. I would say going with the Backbone or the Saturn. I personally like the Saturn. As far as your ball goes, you're going to go with the ball with some spin. So I like the Katana ball. You could also use the Quasar ball here if you want. And the way I like to play this hole, there are many ways to play this hole, let me just say that. But the way I like to play this hole is from the right side. I like to play my shot landing somewhere in that zone right there. We're using about 5 to 6 bars of backspin and at least 5 bars of left spin for this shot that I'm about to show you. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to land your shot right there. We're going to play somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 20% for a wind adjustment for this shot too. I think we're going to start out with a 10% adjustment. If that feels like it's enough, then we'll go with that. But if we feel like we need more, don't be afraid to bump it up a little bit more for this shot. So we'll say 10% to start, especially from the first tee, and we'll see what happens from that right there. We may have to increase it a little bit as we get into the tournament, but we'll start at 10%. So we're adding 10% of wind for the downhill shots. So basically, what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to land our zone right there. If this is the hole right there. We're laying it up on the slope of the kind of like the fringe area of the green. Bounce there and then roll it down to the hole. That's where that backspin and that left spin come into play. That ball hits, stops, and then rolls down the hill to the hole. Gives you a really good chance at getting the ace on this hole. I've done it several times in tournaments past where we had this hole. We had this hole, the New York Classic. We had this hole in the Christmas tournament. So it's definitely a course that I've played on plenty of times. And I've seen the ace from that side many times. Other ways you can play this hole, you can play your shot more towards the middle of the front of the green / fringe. With this shot right here, you'll land it right there. You'll take your shot towards the hole with some backspin. You'll really be trying to land that second bounce pretty close to the hole. And that coupled with the backspin should be able to stop the ball. Give you a chance at the ace, but more than likely just get pretty close to the hole. Definitely within putt for an easy birdie. Other ways you can play this hole are off the left side of the green and then off the fairway. So for the shot off the left side of the green, I would definitely say go with about 4 bars of backspin for that shot. And you want to aim your ball guide to the right side of the hole. Where you're landing your shot, there is kind of like a right to left slope. So when your ball hits, it's naturally going to be pushed to the left to begin with. So if you over adjust and aim your shot to the right side of the hole, then hopefully that kind of counters that bounce and gives you more of a chance to get the ace playing it that way. So that's the shot to the left. If you want to play the shot from the fairway, you'll be laying it on the fairway where the circle is. You'll be laying it up there, bouncing somewhere in there, and then rolling down to the hole. You'll be using backspin and right spin for that shot, and I would just say to adjust those spins to whatever gives you the best ball guide line towards the hole. Also, try to factor in any kind of slope in the green when you are looking at that ball guide towards the hole. So that's hole number 1. Let's go ahead and move on to hole number 2. We got hole number 2. Hole number 2 is a par 4. Definitely a tough par 4. Off the tee box, I like to try to shoot for getting my ball somewhere in that zone right there or somewhere in there. The ways you can play that shot is off the tee. You'll play your bounce about right there and try to roll it up there. Or you play your shot a little bit shorter and roll it up to that right circular landing zone. The difference in those two locations is one gets you a lot closer to the hole, which makes that second shot a lot easier. So first of all, let's talk about that left path drive. To do that left path drive, you want to go about 2-3 bars of topspin. Be careful not to use too much topspin because you can roll through that fairway and into the bunker or the rough, dead straight ahead of that landing zone. So definitely be careful on the amount of topspin you use for that shot. I would definitely say go about 2 to 3 bars of left side spin and a little bit of left curl. You ask, well, why are we doing left side spin and left curl? Well, the fairway on this hole slopes left to right. So in order to counteract that left to right slope, you want that ball to be jumping to the left, when it hits. So that kind of counteracts that. So left to right sloping fairway, that's why you need the left spin and the left curl for that shot. If you want to play the shorter version of that shot to the right side, you just play that one with a little bit less topspin and just kind of guide that ball guide to that area right there. Make sure to not use too much topspin because you definitely don't want to roll off into the rough or the bunker right there. And you definitely want to stay away from that rough and bunker right there. Definitely no zones, and that will definitely probably give you a par on this hole if you hit one of those no zones. So for your second shot here, you're going to be using the big dog. You need a wood with quite a bit of distance. That's another reason why I would suggest going with the Titan ball. If you can afford to use a Titan ball, gives you a little bit extra power for that shot. If you can't use that ball, definitely go with the Quasar ball. Get that side spin for those drives. But anyways, from this zone right here, your shot's going to go up the fairway. You'll land it somewhere at the edge, at the end of that fairway. From there, you're going to be bouncing it up to the green area. In front of that green, there's a little area of fairway. What you want to do is you want that initial bounce to be about halfway up that hill. It's a fairly steep sloped hill. So definitely make sure you don't put backspin on that shot. I would say somewhere between 0 bars to 1 bar of topspin for that shot right there. You want it to have enough to get over the hill, but not too much where it hits and then scoots past the hole too quickly. So I would say somewhere between 0 to 1 bar of topspin for that shot. Keep in mind you are aiming that ball guide for the middle section of that sloped fairway just in front of the green. Okay. If you use backspin, definitely a good chance that that ball stops, rolls back down that fairway, and either into the bunker or the rough just in front of that bunker. So definitely keep that in mind when you are lining up that shot and playing that shot. You also can add some left side spin to that shot if you want to try to guide that ball towards the hole for a possible eagle attempt. This is definitely going to be a hole that's very tough to eagle. If you get the birdie, I would definitely be satisfied with that in the rookie. If you get the bounce and get the eagle, then that's definitely a plus stroke that a lot of people are not going to get. If you want to play it a little bit safer, the back of that green does slope back down towards the hole a little bit. So, you can play it that way as well. All right, so that's hole number 2. One thing I do want to mention before we get into hole number 3 is there is a possibility on this hole to play a power hook. Okay, and the way you would play that power hook is you would take your shot. You would try to land it somewhere in this zone right here, and you'd bring it back that way, and then you get kind of a roll up the fairway to that second landing zone. I think the power hook is a little bit more useful in per se like your pro or your expert round, but it is definitely a possibility in rookie if you want to mess around with that. I don't think it's necessary in the rookie, but it's definitely there. So I just wanted to put that out there just for y'all to know. But I think it gets you to about the same exact location as that leftward drive that we talked about. And I think in rookie, that left drive is a little bit safer to take than that same drive in the pro. And we'll talk about that in the pro expert video tomorrow. All right, hole number 3. And hole number 3 is a par 5. So hole 3, par 5. Hole number 3 is a par 5. On this hole right here, I would definitely say going with the extra mile. You could probably go with your quarterback as well. For your second shot, though, you definitely want to make sure you take your big dog with you. And again, I would suggest a Titan ball for that extra distance for that second shot, but you can use a quasar as well if you are limited on your ball selection, or you just want to kind of save balls for maybe the weekend round. So definitely keep that in mind. What you want to do here is you want to roll out your drive to this zone right here. You're definitely not going to need all of your extra mile. That's why I say the quarterback may be an option. Using that ball guide and accuracy to pinpoint that drive may be a good choice to make. Now from that second circle is where we want the ball to end up. So from that spot right there, our second shot is going to be a shot that requires some curl. Okay? You want your ball to land somewhere in that zone and roll up to that area right there. You may need to use some left curl, some left spin, and some top spin. I would definitely recommend, if you can, get out there and try to practice this hole, because you want to fine-tune the amount of top spin to use for this shot. You don't want to use too much because you can possibly roll through the fairway and into that bunker. Definitely don't want to do that. You'll still be able to reach the green from that bunker, but you take away any chance that you had some sort of an eagle. So definitely keep that in mind. I think it's somewhere like 3 bars of topspin, 2 to 3 bars of topspin is like the perfect amount of topspin. So I would recommend trying that out. If you feel like it takes you a little bit too far up, just back down the topspin a little bit. If you feel like you're not getting far enough up, then you can bump it up to more like a 3.5 or something like that. But I would start out like at 2 to 3 bars of topspin for that shot. For your third shot, you're taking your shot to the front edge of the screen right there. Okay. From there, you got 2 options. You can kind of go with more of a direct shot towards the hole, and that may depend on the location of your second shot. If you have like a really bad angle to the hole, you can use the back of this green. The hill does slope back down towards the hole. So definitely keep that in mind. You can use the back edge of that green to slope the ball back towards the hole. It is possible to bounce on the front of that green, roll your ball up the hill, it curves back and then comes back to the hole. Definitely a possible shot right there. And if you have a club with good ball guide, then that you could definitely see that shot through from the location of this area right there. Okay. And that is hole number 3. There's really not a whole lot to hole number 3. There's really only one way to play the hole. And if you mess up somewhere along the way, you definitely could be in a sticky situation, especially if that initial drive goes too far and into the rough, or that big sand trap on that first fairway. That's definitely something that you don't want to do at all. All right. Next hole is hole number 4. And hole number 4 is a par 3. Now for this hole right here, I would definitely say Backbone, Saturn are your 2 clubs of choice in the rookie division. We will play this hole at a plus 10% adjustment for the downhill shot. So make sure you adjust 10% in addition to what the wind is that you already have. So if you have a 5 mile per hour wind, 10% of 5 miles per hour would be 0.5. So you would go with a 5.5 mile per hour wind adjustment for 10%. And that's how you would calculate that out. Now, the main way that I like to play this hole is jump right. You're bouncing your shot right about there. I like to play it with the Saturn as well. Basically what you're doing is you're landing that zone right there. You're rolling up. You're bouncing out there, and then you're rolling to the hole. Hopefully you can get that ball to stay somewhere on that top level. The screen does slope pretty severely downwards on the back side of that green line. So definitely want to get your ball above that area, up to that extra, that ridge, that upper ridge is how we'll call it. The way I like to play this shot to the right is 1 bar of top spin and then 1 to 2 bars of right spin. And that is if you have a right to left tailwind. So if you have a right to left tailwind, you want to use the right spin, because you want your spin to counter into the wind to kind of like offset it. So on the other hand, if you have a left to right tailwind, you want to play with 1 bar of top spin and 1 bar of left spin. So keep that in mind. I'm pretty sure we're going to get some sort of a side tailwind or a tailwind, one or the other. So definitely remember those 2 tips. If you have a right to left tailwind, 1 top spin, 1 to 2 right spin. If you have a left to right tailwind, 1 top spin, 1 left spin. Okay. If we get a headwind, you can use a wood with a lot of backspin, like for say a guardian or something like that. Land it pretty close up to the edge of the green with a lot of backspin and go at the hole that way as well. Most likely, we're not going to get a headwind in the rookie, and yeah, that's most likely not going to be a shot on the radar. So, but still putting it out there just so you all know. So, all right. One other shot that you can do is you can land your shot back here in this zone right here. And what you would do there is you'd actually probably using some top spin and some side spin. You'll bounce your shot somewhere up there and then roll it to the hole that way. That would be the way to play that shot from the back. I suggest playing the shot in the middle that I first originally showed you. That would be the way that I would play this hole, and that's the way that I'm going to play this hole in the rookie. All right, so next hole we have is hole number 5. And hole number 5 is a par 4. We're going to play a 10%, plus 10% for elevation off the tee box for this hole. As far as clubs go, I would say going with something like the extra mile. You can use a very low level Thor if you have that. You could even use the quarterback. You could even use the big topper if you want on this hole. The drive is not all that long to the location of where you're going to bounce your shot, which is going to be somewhere right about in here. Okay, that's going to be your landing zone for your tee shot. I would say go with like the Titan or Quasar or even a Katana ball for this shot, because with the shot right there, you're going to be jumping over the bunker, laying it somewhere in there, and then hopefully rolling out to that zone right there. Okay, that's going to be your shot. The way you're going to take that shot is full top spin and somewhere about 3 bars of left spin. You could use a little bit more sometimes, depending on that tree right there in the middle of the fairway. We'll have to wait and see what the tree looks like for this tournament. But, you know, too much left spin could possibly bounce that ball into the tree. Luckily, with the top spin, you're usually going to hit that tree and still roll forward into the fairway, so you're okay. But I caution on using too much left spin just because of that big hop that the ball takes for that drive. Don't want that ball to hit that tree. Another option is to play your drive, laying it somewhere in this zone right here with top spin and right spin. You'll hit and you'll take your shot to the left side of that tree. And with that shot right there, you can usually roll your ball a little bit farther up the fairway, which could be a good thing, but could be a bad thing. I prefer the back landing area just because I like the second shot that I have from that zone. So basically, for your second shot, we're going to the green from both angles. I like to use the thorn for this shot. Some people like to use the hornet for this shot, but I more like the thorn for this shot. I will play a plus 10% for a downhill slope to the green for this shot. And when I'm using the thorn, I like to go with about 2 to 3 bars of backspin, somewhere right in there. I like to aim that shot right at the right-hand edge of the cup, about 2 squares in front of the cup. So you give yourself room to hit and then roll out to the cup. And then I aim it at the right-hand edge of the cup. Don't know why that works, but it seems to work. And, you know, as opposed to aiming it straight at the cup. You know, usually if I aim it straight at the cup, I end up just left of the cup. So I find that if I aim at the right-hand edge of the cup, I get the shot to fall. I don't know. It must has something to do with the bounce on the green. All right, and that hole number 5. Hole number 5 is over with. Hole number 6 is next, and hole number 6 is a par 5. Some of these par 5s are tricky. Hole number 6, I'm going to suggest you play with a plus 20% for the downhill shot. It is a pretty severe downhill shot. We want to land our drive off of this platform right here. I call it a platform. You'll see why I call it a platform once you play the hole. But in tournaments past, I see a lot of people overdrive that platform. Make sure that you do see what distance you're taking your shot at. Are you taking a max level? driver shot or more of a mid-level driver shot, because it does make a difference when you are making the adjustments for the wind. So plus 20% on the adjustment for your drive for sure. Full topspin for this drive. And you want to use whatever spin that you need to use to straighten out your ball guide to get it to land on this fairway and jump straight forward. I can't remember off the top of my head what type of spin it is, but it does make a difference. You'll very easily see it when you line up your shot, because your ball guide will point one way or the other, and you just spin it the opposite way to straighten out that ball guide. So definitely keep that in mind and remember that for setting up that shot. You can play to the right side as well. To the right side is more of an aggressive line, but it could have a better payoff for you in the end. Just saying. For that shot, you'll be landing your ball somewhere up in there. You'll be getting your bounce, another bounce right there, and then hopefully you'll trickle down through the hole over the edge of the cliff, and you'll roll out to that fairway area right there. It's a little bit more risky of a shot because there's always a chance that your ball does not roll into the fairway and you get stuck in the rough. But if you get that ball into the fairway, then you really have a much better chance of actually getting to the green in two. And you can also start using other clubs besides the big dog for your second shot, maybe a Viper or a Guardian if you have a Guardian. But I would say a majority of the people are going to play the left side shot off the platform. Okay. So for your second shot, we're going to play this with somewhere between a -5 to -10% adjustment. So instead of adding wind, we're actually taking away wind from the second shot. So just keep that in mind when you're setting up that second shot for your wind adjustment. From here, back here in this area of the fairway, on the rookie, you're going to be looking at a shot that goes up here. You're going to bounce it somewhere in here, over the rough and the cliffish looking thing, and hopefully roll it up to this zone right here, which will be to the right edge side of the green, and that'll set you up for a chip to the green for a possible eagle. I do want to make mention that when you are making that chip to the green, it is an uphill shot to the green. So when you are looking at your ball guide for your shot, normally you just have the edge of the ball guide just barely going through the hole. You may want to consider lining that shot up with the ball guide going a little bit extra through the hole, because you definitely don't want to mishit it and end up, falling short of the hole because it is uphill. So definitely keep that in mind, or, either extend that ball guide through the hole or maybe add just a tiny little bit of topspin to help with that. So if you are going to the right side on the drive and you are going to go for the more aggressive line, which would put you somewhere in right there, you could be using your Viper. You could even still using your big dog. Your shot would be more of a shot like this, where you land your shot right there. You hop over that bunker. You bounce right there on the front edge of the green, and then you roll to the hole. That's definitely your best chance of getting the albatross on this hole, playing it that way. But it's much riskier, both on the front end, to get to that position. So, I for one don't know that it's worth the risk on the front end. If the second shot is the riskier shot, but it gives me a chance at the albatross, then I definitely would probably take it. But, seeing as things can go wrong off the tee box, you make the wrong shot off the tee box, then you may be taking yourself out of chance for the eagle. And I think this is definitely a must eagle hole on this tournament, especially in the rookie. If you're not eagling this hole, you're missing out on a chance to drop that score. This is not going to be a very, really, really good scoring tournament, in my opinion. This is going to be probably a minus 20, 26. Has a good chance of winning this one. So definitely want to get the strokes that you can get. This is a hole where you need to get that eagle. So I suggest playing it off the platform, your second shot to the edge of the green, and then chip in, get your eagle, and move on. That's my suggestion for this hole. All right, let me check, make sure I don't have anything else to tell you all about in this hole. Nope, looks good. All right, hole 7. Hole 7 is a par, I think par 4. I think hole 7 is a par 4. Yeah, hole 7's got to be a par 4. And this is another hole that's kind of tricky off the tee box. We're going to play a plus 10% adjustment for the downhill off the tee box. I would definitely say go with the extra mile or if you have like a Thor level 2 or 3, you could go with that. But I definitely think the extra mile is probably your best bet on this hole. Your landing zone is going to be somewhere in this zone right here. Do make sure you don't land that ball too close to the edge of that fairway. It does slope down a little bit. So if you do land to the edge of that fairway, your ball is not going to get a very good bounce. It's going to kind of flatten out to bounce, and it's going to put you somewhere in this crap right here, which you don't want to be in. Okay, so make sure you land your shot a little bit farther back. Make sure you adjust for that plus 10% wind. So full topspin, left spin. Hopefully you get the good bounce. Hopefully you bounce there and roll up into this zone right there. That's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for. If you want to play more of a safe shot, you can play the shot to the right as well, which bounces it right there up into this zone right here. I would caution you though, however, if you're playing that shot, to not use too much topspin, because you don't want to roll through the fairway and have a safe shot turn into a costly shot. Okay, so keep that in mind if you do want to play that shot to the right. And if you do play that shot to the right, I would not adjust that extra 10% wind, because you are playing it more up to an uphill area. Okay. All right. So for our second shot, we're going to play this second shot with a minus 10%. So that means we're taking the shot uphill. So we're actually taking away from the wind for this shot. And I would definitely say, you're taking your shot from here. You're laying it somewhere in this zone right here. You're hopping over that bunker, and hopefully you're going to roll it out to the green. Definitely a good chance at rolling out an eagle right here, but definitely make sure you get your birdie for sure. Okay, but you definitely have a chance to roll out the eagle. If you're playing it from the left side, you could possibly use your Viper or your Sniper. You definitely want to use backspin, somewhere about 2 to 3 bars of backspin on that shot, and just kind of roll that guide towards the hole as good as you can. If you're playing it from the right side, you may want to use the big dog, because you're going to have to be taking your shot in to a similar landing zone, but you're going to be needing to use right curl for that shot. Right curl and backspin on that shot right there is what you're going to need to use to make that shot happen. So I am more prone to suggest playing your shot to the left side and then going that left route towards the hole. I think that gives you a better chance at the eagle for sure, in my opinion. So hole number 7, I don't know if I mentioned or not, but I would definitely say go Titan ball on this one. I don't think I would recommend going with the Kingmaker ball, unless you just had it and wanted to use it. But definitely the Titan ball for sure on this hole. Now, in the event that you do muck up the drive, hopefully you won't, but in the event that you muck up the drive, your best chance at this hole is to play your second shot to that zone right there. And then from there, it gives you a pretty clean look at the hole for a possible eagle save. I'm not going to say anything, but I know someone that mucked up a drive one time and played out that route and saved the eagle. I'm not going to say who it may have been, but it definitely is something that works. Okay. All right. And that was hole number 7. Make sure I'm giving you all the information that I can on these holes. I know a lot of y'all have played these holes before, but maybe, just maybe, I can give you just one little piece of information that you didn't know that can help save you 1 stroke. If you save 1 stroke by watching this video, I think that's successful. All right. We're coming down the home stretch now. We got hole 8. It's a par 3. Hole 8, par 3. For this hole right here, I'm going to be using the Saturn ball. And I'm going to probably be using either a Quasar or Katana ball. Basically, what you're going to be using is a lot of backspin on this shot and left spin. The main goal is to land your shot somewhere in that zone. Bounce it up here. Roll it in there. That's the short and simplistic version of how you want this hole to go. Okay, you bounce it there with backspin and left spin. You want to roll it off that hill towards the hole. There used to be a nice little groove towards the hole. Who knows if Playdemic will change up the the bounces on the green or not? They usually do from tournament to tournament, but that's the way I always play this hole, and that's the way I'm going to play it this time as well. I'll play it the same way in the upper divisions, except with the Guardian instead. But yeah, in the rookie, you'll be using the Saturn. If you want to play the shot off the off this little cliff, this area right here, now you can play that shot. I would probably use the backbone for that shot. Basically, what you're doing is you're bouncing it up there. It's a very touchy shot, very tough to like perfect. Basically, you land it right there off that edge of the ridge to the green, and then from there it'll roll up the hill and then back to the hole. Basic fundamentals of basically the other shot as well, up the hill and down towards the hole. So you're going to use that slope, that right side slope of that green, for all of our shots here to take our shot back to the hole for hopefully the ace. And I've heard some people say you play this shot with elevation change. It's definitely a downhill shot for sure. I don't believe I've ever played this shot with elevation change, and I've had a lot of success on the shot. But if you start playing it with no elevation change, you just don't feel like you're getting close to the hole. Maybe bump up that to a 10 or even a 20% elevation change for the shot, just to see if it works better. There's always an adjustment that you can make, for a shot instead of adding elevation. It's just kind of counteracts the thing, that you're adding elevation for. So if you play this hole without elevation and you always play it without elevation, I would continue to play it that way. If you don't feel like it's working for you correctly, then start changing things. All right. Next hole is hole 9. It's par 5, and it's our last and final hole. Definitely our albatross chance hole. There will be some people hitting albatrosses on this hole to win gold medals. There will be someone that posts saying, I albatross 18 and it won me my gold medal. I promise you it's going to happen. I just wait for it. The way I would play this shot, I like the extra mile for this shot. We will play just a +5. So, you're just going to add a 5% additional, for the wind on this shot, and the downhill on this shot. Not a whole lot, but just enough. Basically, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be playing your shot up the right edge of the fairway. So your bounce is going to be somewhere in there. You bounce your shot over, with a little bit of right spin, a lot of right spin, about 2 to 3 bars of top spin, and right curl, a good amount of right curl. So you want to hit, bounce over here, roll up to that front area of that right extension of the fairway, that right quadrant of the fairway. From that zone right there, you will have a pretty easy shot towards the green, where you'll bounce it there and hopefully go into the hole for the albatross. As far as what club to use, I would start off by taking the big dog. If you find that the big dog is too much club, and then you're making it there very easily, then you could scale it back to the Viper. But keep in mind, if that drive doesn't get far enough down that right-hand section of the fairway, then you may wish you had the big dog with you. So, if you get to the end of the fairway, the Viper will be sufficient. But if you don't, then I think you really need the big dog in the rookie for this shot. The shot up towards the hole, we're going to play it with minus 10% because it is an uphill shot on that second shot towards the hole. So minus 10% adjustment on that shot when you are making that shot. And the amount of backspin that you're going to use for that second shot does depend on the type of wind that we get. So if you get a tailwind, you use more backspin. If you get a headwind, you use less backspin. If you get side wind, then you use in between. I would say your backspin is going to be anywhere between 3 to 5 bars of backspin. So if you don't have a club with that much backspin, you're just going to use what you can use, and hopefully you get the ball to roll and bounce the right way for you. But yeah, depending on the wind that we have, we'll definitely determine how much backspin we want to use for that second shot. And don't forget, minus 10% adjustment for the uphill second shot. Okay. So I'm just going to give you all a tip right here. When I play this hole and I stretch out my ball guide, for the initial drive, I like to look at my ball guide line just kind of passing right along the right-hand edge of that bunker. That's how I line up my shot to make sure that I put myself into the same exact spot every time for a landing zone. And I have really not had a lot of issues with this hole as far as landing and going into the rough. I think that 2.5 bars, 3 bars of topspin and full right spin, coupled with the curl, is a very good formula for this hole. And I find that when I do use my ball guide and line it up, with it going straight up the right-hand edge of that bunker, just to the right-hand edge of that bunker, I find that that's a pretty good aiming point for this hole and set up for the drive. So use it if you can. If you have a way to play this hole that works fine, then use the way that you use. Another way you can play this hole safely, you would be laying your shot somewhere here, trying to roll up into this zone right here. From there, with the big dog, you could either attempt to go off the island, which may only be possible if you had a Titan ball with you. Your other option would be to bounce it somewhere off this zone. Wow, that was a really bad line. Bounce it off this zone right here, over the bunker, hit there, and then roll to the hole. That would be your other option to play that far left shot. I would say that's the safe zone. If you play the safe zone, I definitely think going to the right side is well worth the risk because it gives you a chance at the albatross, which in my opinion is the only hole that anybody in the rookie is going to have a chance of getting the albatross on. So this is, you don't want to pass up opportunities to pick up extra strokes. I think when you get complacent and you pass up the opportunities to earn extra strokes, you're really not trying to play to win the game. If you're playing in the tournament, you're playing to win the tournament, not just finish in the top 50. You gotta go at shots that give you the best opportunity to gain strokes on the field and finish as high up as you possibly can. I mean, what's the difference in finishing in the top 50 and missing out on a stroke and finishing in like 60th or 60th place? There's not really much of a difference. So my advice is to go for it, make the shot that matters, and hopefully y'all can get yourself a gold banner, which would be awesome. Always awesome when you win that gold banner for the first time. There's just no feeling in the game of Golf Clash like winning that gold banner. So, all right. So that is holes 1 through 9 for the upcoming tournament. And hopefully y'all learned a thing or two. I know it's an old course, but sometimes you can learn something that you didn't know before. And hopefully y'all can get out, practice these holes. Tour number 6 is where you're going to practice these holes in the rookie. Watch out. There's going to be some sharks in the water because there's nowhere for the pros and the extras to play. So a lot of people will be playing Tour 6. But get out there, get you some practice. Hopefully you can get the holes fairly easily. And also don't forget to check us out on Facebook. Just go to the search bar, type in Golf Clash 19th hole. If you haven't already done so, we would love for you to come join our community and become a part of the family, the 19th family. And make sure to hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and hit that subscribe button. If you do enjoy my videos, make sure to go into that notification setting and program it so that does send you a notification when I do release new videos and when I go live. I go live and I stream rookie, pro, and expert content every tournament. So definitely check it out if you haven't done so already. And thank you all very much for watching this video. Got my Santa hat on, and I'm going to leave you with this. Merry Christmas, and God bless. Y'all have a good evening and rest of the week.